Hi, folks. Here's Bachi del Buono talking, and I'm really glad to welcome here at the Milano Yachting Week, the Digital Boat Show, you and one of the most biggest and important personality in the business of yachting. Here we have the huge Michael Schmitz. Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm fine, and I hope your Milano boat show is a good way of communicating with our customers.
Of course, it will be, and it has been yet actually, but it will be for a long time because here everything will remain for a long time. So everyone here can, go to see and re-see everything that has been, enjoyed from them. So first of all, I really want to know, everyone knows that you started with Anse and then Fjord, and then you arrived where you are, that it's Wayot. But before that, I'm really interested in to know who actually, when you started with Anse, before, who you were and what you were doing.
Oh, a lot of other things. Hanse was just a chapter in my life for maybe, 1.5 decades. Um, no, the normal procedure. Parents were sailing. School was not so interesting. Sailing was more important. Uh, so I think I had Optimist dinghy number 4 or 5 in Germany,
Okay.
1956 or 57 or something like that. In these days, the Optimist dinghies were built out of prefabricated plywood, and you bought a package in Denmark, and the masts were out of bamboo, and the sails were made out of linen, which you were buying in a warehouse. And somebody was putting this together. This is for a lot of optimist sailors probably completely not understandable how you could do something like this. When I see today these hyper nervous parents from their children and completely in high-tech stuff. I think the way of learning to sail you can also do with a simple boat, of course, not then the competition because others have better material. Of course, you cannot win. But this is how we started as young kids, sailing and racing every weekend. Well, our parents, I was born in Kiel, were going out to another harbor, and then we met outside the marina and were racing against each other. This, of course, you grow, and then the next boat after that was an OK dinghy. But
Mhm.
again, this OK dinghy was also built out of prefabricated plywood, and this was built in our house with my father together, and then the masts were made by ourselves, and Naya. That's how we started to sail and started to race, and from that I moved on into a fin dinghy, tried to be in the Olympics in '72, but missed it. And then, yeah, we were a bunch of people in these days. I would call them, yeah, a group of socialists where we wanted to conquer the world together with friends like Rolf Frohlich, who's today the owner of Judith Frohlich Design Office, and other people who has made their career in the boating industry over the years, who are traveling all around the world, sailing, sailing, sailing. And
But the thing that I'm starting to think about is, you know from the love that you have, actually, that you have of sailing, to trying to, build up factories of huge and incredible boat. Which is how you did it, because everyone loved to sail, but not so many people try to invented something as you did. So, like Anse, for example.
yeah, but I think this is relatively simple. This is if you nothing will come overnight. If you have some kind of dedication to something and you're passionate about something, you're not doing this for money. You're doing this because you love to do it, and the work is no work. It is, you do something and it's better to go out with the dog for the wife and clean something because you like to do what you do. And what happened then was that Rolf and I went to Canada and were racing on a Shark 24. We didn't know what it was. And I think we became second in the World Championship, missed 3 races because we were drunk and everybody was completely, let's say, nervous and interested because we became second, missing 3 races. And due to this, we learned, and we were sponsored by Heidelberg Brewery. I don't know if they still exist. So we had to represent our sponsor, of course, in 3 nights. And then we were invited by CNC Yachts, in these days the biggest yacht manufacturer in the world. And they were building also the Shark. And then we learned the yard, and yeah, by an idea, we asked them why they don't do anything in Europe. And then suddenly we were hired to do something in Europe for them. And then Rolf and I built up a factory, I think in the middle 70s, for CNC Yachts in Kiel. This was a very fascinating project. We were both very young and got the responsibility in building up a factory. And yeah, first of all, we had to search in Europe where to build up a factory. And funny-wise, we came to Kiel. And yeah, built up a factory there, and after 3 years we were relatively successful, and the Canadians became nervous because we were so young, and then they came with a Harvard manager which was on top of us, and we never had a nice chemistry with him, and then we left the company. Rolf went on his own with his design office, and I went on my own with a brokerage company. So this is the first time I learned something to build with serious production boats.
Yeah.
And
But the why of ANSE has been so important in all the world. Is it right if I try to say that ANSE has been something completely new? Because in that period there was racing boat completely not with no comfort on it, and there was cruising boat. They were, yes, of course, full of comfort, but no so fast.
yeah,
And
but then to explain this, there's one step in between. After Rolf and I went on our own, I took over a boatyard which we're building before power boats, and Rolf started his design career. And we both said, oh, the only thing what we know is sailing boats. And then we both asked ourselves, how do we become famous? And then we decided we must build a one-off boat for the Admiral's Cup. And then we both made our first boat together. This was Düsselboot in 1981. And this was the first boat in the world built in pre-preg and pre-preg mats and foam. All the other boats were built until that time in aluminium. And the next we then created were, I think in 82, the first boat completely in carbon fiber. And then I was involved until 87. We were building all these Admiral's Cup yachts in my yard in Germany, with which we were winning Admiral's Cup, Sardinia's Cup, and these things. And this was, I think, the base. When I stopped this in 87, I was thinking, what is the next thing I need to do? And then the reunification in Germany came. And then I bought this ground here in East Germany. Having no work for the workers, we started to produce some boats. And out of this, we developed the idea racing was going down. Why can we not produce some sailboats where people who have a family and have raced when they were young can also have fun when they are sailing with their family? That when you trim the mast, you see some reactions. When you do something, you feel the boat. This was the idea when I started Hanse Yachts, to make a boat for myself.
But you know what? That is quite strange, to listen to this story, because today every boat that has been sailed in few years, um, everyone is fast cruising, and you just describe the fast cruising boat isn't it right?
This was new in these days because the people or the builders of the, let's say, mass production boats never thought so much about being fast, except for Ixion and maybe one or two others, but they were very expensive, and we tried to yeah, we had our competition with Bavaria, and Bavaria, of course, was the record holder of efficiency production. So we also had to do something else. We were relatively good in making the boat the customer wanted to have in these days, and maybe still today. Heiberg Rossi was building white boats with a blue line, and Bavaria the same. And we tried to make different colors in the hull or different wood in the interior. And this customization, I think, helped us a lot to get Hanse through from zero to where it went until I sold it.
Fabulous, fabulous. And why you decided to sell Hanse?
Well, it makes me, I like to invent things and I like to change things. And Hansa had a size of where I thought it's time for me to say goodbye. Because also in 2007, we had many, many years where it was booming, and I was thinking, the good times will be one day over. Maybe it's now time to say goodbye. And then I made this IPO and we went to the stock market, which was good because 2008 we had this financial crisis. And luckily we had enough cash out of the IPO to get out of this crisis. And then 2011, I sold my remaining shares, and yeah, and it was a company which I like to build up, but at a certain moment, I think, yeah, it was not so interesting anymore.
And then you start with a new game, with a new story, that is Why Yacht. And first of all, I want you to tell us how you invented it, because someone say that you wanted a boat for you, for your using, and then you find out that that boat was amazing, and then you said, why not try to go on with the idea. Someone else says no, he wanted to do a factory like this. Which is the truth?
The truth is that after I sold Hamlet, I was happy that I got rid of it because then I went sailing and didn't think anything about sailboat. And I never thought that I would have a boatyard again. No, never. Uh,
But
yeah, then I'm also doing a lot of property things and I like to build things and create things. The
yeah.
property is relatively simple to make money, at least the last years. And then I needed a boat for myself. I had a Hansa 63, and what I didn't like is when you had light wind, you always had to put the engine on when you go upwind. And I was talking to my skipper and said, "Ooh, this is nerving. Always after 10 knots, we can sail, and we need something where we can start sailing with maybe 5 knots of true wind."
Yeah.
Then we were trying to find a second-hand boat, but all these second-hand boats were very complicated and needed so much crew, and I wanted to have something around 80 foot or 90 foot or yeah, something like that. But all these boats were complicated, lots of winches, lots of wires and so on. And then I thought, no, this is not what I want. And then I decided to make a new boat. And then, yeah, I started with Lorenzo Argento, who at this time was part of Brenta Yachts or Brenta Design Team. And he made the first boat for me. And then people saw it and said, oh, this is interesting. And maybe you can build me a boat. And Naya, then this is how everything started.
So that is true, that the first one was for you, and then someone asked you to build another one for them, isn't it right?
Yeah, that's true. But also it started, then I thought, That was somewhere in 2015, 2016. And I thought how this digitalization of the world is changing boat building. And I was thinking about this a lot. And I was thinking, if I start something again, I would like to make something where we incorporate this future digitalization, which we have today, into boat building. And I was always thinking, what is the thing which you need to do different than what you did before?
Yeah. Wow. And now a question about economics and this kind of stuff. Um, I want you to compare the two situation, Anse and Wyatt. Anse has been, something huge and something completely new, but something huge. And we know that in that project of economics of the industry, you can make some money because you sell a lot of boats, plenty of boats, and that boat doesn't cost so much to you and to the owner that is going to buy it. In this kind of economics, in why yacht it's so expensive, actually, even for you. So I want you to share. I'm sorry, to compare this. Is it possible today to make money building boat, and is it possible today to make money building that kind of boat that are so luxury, so wonderful, and so well made?
I'm not building boats just for my hobby. Also, if I like to build boats, because this is, I love boats and I love to create boats, but I would be foolish if I don't want to make money, because then it's better not to do anything. It's a business, and the business needs to create money and a profit. Otherwise, I think this is totally stupid. And I think, we have a concept on which we make money, and I think these are two completely different things. One is a mass production boat builder like Beneteau or Jeannot or Bavaria or Hanse or whatever,
Yeah.
and where they also need different brands to make a certain volume for the purchase power and other things. But what we do today is a purely concentration on monohulls from 70 to maximum 100 foot. And we believe that to make good boats, you must put a lot of love into each boat, into each project, into each model. And if you don't have the time to think about a lot of aspects in the boat, you can never create a nice boat. Because if you have, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 different brands, each of them has, let's say, 10 models. So you have to have 50 models on which you have to put love in. But you don't find these people who are understanding this. And therefore, I think we don't build motorboats, we don't build catamarans. Our job is to build monohulls from 70 to 100 foot, and we don't want to make more than, let's say, maximum 6, 7 boats a year. We think that you can find really good people in a base where if you want to expand, you have to put much more marketing power in it. You have to put more management stages in. Are you making more money? Are you more happy? I don't think so. I think you are happy if you build a boat for a customer you like and he likes you. And we all know that a boat can have mistakes. It's handmade. But I think important is that after 36 months, you sit together with a customer and you drink a glass of red wine and you're still friends. And this is, I think, our philosophy. We like to stay in touch with our customers, also after the warranty period is over. And this, I think, only works if you also limit your turnover. I think it doesn't make any, for the project we are doing, it doesn't make any sense to have unlimited turnover. This is only hectic, and you will not put the quality into this product which you need to do.
About the last things that you said, actually, we really think that you are really similar to one of our Italian businessmen actually in the business, that is Luca Bassani of Wally. I know you know him, of course. And a a lot of guys compare you, they say that you both are someone that invented something, that you started something. Do you feel like Luca? Do you think that you are quite similar or not?
I think he's done a great job on Wally, not only with the sailboats, also on the powerboats. And he has inspired me with his Wally powerboats to create these fjord powerboats. Um, I think yes, maybe. I think we have a different attitude versus business. Um, mm, Maybe I'm more interested in making money out of the things I'm starting. And but I don't know. I have never seen the balance sheet from Wally, uh, but I have seen my balance sheet, and yeah. But I admire the work he has done, and I think he has a good touch of design.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, actually, the other question was about Wally Tender and your fjord, but actually, you just told me that you take inspiration by them, isn't it right?
Yes, and I think
Well,
it's fantastic what he did, and yeah.
lovely, lovely, lovely. And let's think about Olympics game, because I know you've been such a great sailor in your life, and I really want to know, what do you think about the Olympic games? If is it possible to have some class of Olympic games of sailing offshore?
Ah, Olympic Games. For me, it's of no interest.
Really?
Yeah, because I think everything is TV dominated, everything is dominated by money. And I think, yes, when I was young, I wanted to go to the Olympic Games and I tried to do this. If I today would like to do it, I doubt. I think it's not the Olympic Games, which is for the people who do the sport. I think it's more for the people who would like to make money and the officials to have a nice trip there. I'm relatively negative against the Olympic Games.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Thank no, 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 but it's wow, it's great, it's great, it's great. Thank you for everything that, because no one has this braveness to say this stuff. So thank you very much. And so I know that you love Italy, is it right?
Sorry? I
I
didn't.
know that you love Italy, is it right?
Yes, this is true.
And I know that the first Y yacht that you did, that was the one for you, has been painted with the same color of your Vespa Piaggio that you had. Is it right?
Yeah, this is true. This was a Vespa from the end of 50s or something like that. And I think Italy is a wonderful country. If I would find a place, we have a house in Mallorca for the winter. And I was always trying to find something in Italy. I love Palermo, I love Sicily, which I think is a nice place for the winter. But it's so difficult to get there. And then finally, you end always up in Mallorca because this is 500,000. The city is working in the winter, Palma. You find a lot of friends which are sailing there, and you could, before Corona, fly there from every airport 6 times a day. And to Sicily and the other places, yeah, in the winter, this is difficult to get there. But
Yeah, yeah.
there's nothing better than, let's say, fashion, food in Italy. Also, this handcraft in North Italy, in these furniture factories and so on. I mean, there's nothing better in the world.
Wow. Wow. And another question that I wanted to say you is, if you can do how you say, the most beautiful place you ever been sailing, can you tell me maybe the first five?
Oh, this of course depends on the weather, the circumstances, the restaurant, if you're not married, on the girlfriend which you have. There are so many different scenarios. I think for me, the most impressive trip I ever did was into the Black Sea about 10 years ago. The Black Sea, nobody is going to. And 10 years ago, we were maybe one of the rare boats sailing there. And we went from Istanbul, then to Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, where Crimea was still Ukraine, and then back. And this was the most fascinating trip on a sailboat I ever did because you found different people, very friendly people, and I've learned again what food means because in these days we were somewhere in Romania eating real potatoes. They tasted two potatoes and very friendly people, and it was all completely different. We ended up in Odessa, which was a fascinating city 10 or 11 years ago, with wonderful culture and an opera house, and then Crimea. You come into a port which you couldn't find, where the Russians had in the rocks submarine yards from the Second World War, and this was completely different. And this was something where we met so many friends completely in a different way of what I have had before. So this, I think, was the most impressive trip I ever did.
Ah, lovely, lovely. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And I want jump back in the past and then a bit jump in the future. Do you think if ANSE have been started now, do you think would be became so famous as it became in the past when you started actually?
I have no idea, and honestly, I don't think about this because I sold it, I think, 10 years ago, and I have no idea what they do, how they do things. For me, always a chapter is closed when I sold it.
Yeah.
So I have never spent any time about thinking about this. So I cannot answer you this question.
And if you were at the head of the group now, like Anse or other brand, but the group like that one, about now, do you think it should be possible for a group like that now to grow or no?
Also difficult to think because to say something about because I don't sit in the shoes of all of them and I don't think about this because the only thing on which I'm interested is and where I think about it in my daytime when I'm working is how can we make a boat better in the size of what we are building? And I honestly don't think about this.
And this is the why I want to jump in the future. What about the future of Wyatt?
I think interesting is that we found some customers, about 20%, who are buying a sailboat from us who had a powerboat before. And I think a lot of our colleagues are thinking they must build powerboats and they must do this and so on. I understand this, but I think beside the booming of the catamarans, monohulls are still, I think for me, the sailboats which are most interesting because sailing, and especially when you race, is also playing like chess. And you have to pre-think about the wind and other things. Of course, it's also speed, it's technique. Um, I think it's an interesting mix of everything. And I think to create boats for owners, which are very simple, because boats are, if you don't know how to do it, you put into a boat everything you think you might need. But it is very difficult to define a boat which has less of these things in, because less of these things means it will not break, you don't have to pay anything for it, but you can use it in the way you think you need to use it. I always say, do you need all the functions in the iPhone? If you maybe have 40% of the functions in the iPhone. A lot of people are very, very satisfied with it, and they feel heroes like of the iPhone. And I think there are lots of things where you can think, and I believe simplicity of sailing is the success of our monohull business compared with a wonderful design and speed. And speed, I think, is also important because everybody who leaves the port wants to pass another boat.
We this is the stuff. This is the stuff. But we just talk about technical things. But now I want to know. Just actually, we are going to the end of our interview. So thank you very much for everything. But I'm really interested in something romantic about you. Which kind of music do you listen on board when you sail?
Oh, this is different. Depends on my mood. Um, I was a big admirer of the Rolling Stones, and one of my favorite songs was "Sympathy for the Devil," especially from a live concert in the Beacon Theater in New York. And but also classic music. Classic music is sometimes wonderful. So,
It,
but
it it depends. It depends into the wind. If it's a downwind going or upwind going. No.
I think it depends on my mood.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. And which is the book that mustn't that must be on board?
An autopilot.
Ah, okay, okay.
Because
And
sometimes it's boring to sit there and steer, and an autopilot takes the job sometimes quite nicely. Yeah, but of course you need also good friends, and you need something to drink and something to eat, but at a nice sunshine and a nice breeze.
and if you have to choose, this is stupid question actually, but I really want to ask you if you have to choose to go on a fjord or Anseboat now, what would you chosen?
Fjord.
Fjord, really?
Yes.
I really thought there was the opposite.
Why?
Because you're actually a sailor man, and so I thought, of course, sailing. But
No, 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 no. I have also two power boats. I have, I don't know, six boats, I think. I have one classic boat, which was built in 1907, where I wanted to race Panerai Classic the last 2 or 3 years. But then I found out that this is not so interesting as I thought. This is a 9-meter boat now in San Remo. Then I have here in the Baltic a Herreshoff from 1931. I think it's a 60-footer. And then I have an old classic powerboat built in Holland in the 50s. So I think everything has its sense. Also powerboats. I love powerboats sometimes, but where I have no, how to say this, I like the fjords, or I like very much also the new Van Dutch. I think the paddle powerboats are a little bit nicer than maybe the fjord. They're a little bit more advanced in design. Um, but these kind of boats are nice boats when you use them for 2, 3 hours to go from here to there, have a drink in a bar, and go back. Yeah, I think, yeah,
why not? They say.
yeah. It is
So
always on the sea.
that's right. That's right. This is another way to be on the sea. And last but not least, which has been your favorite sailorman ever?
Sorry, what?
Which has been your favorite sailor ever?
I have no idea.
Really?
I've never. So you mean who is my biggest hero
Hero.
sailing?
Yeah, yeah. Who's been your hero when you were, young and started to say who's has been your hero of course in the sailing situation?
I think Paul Edström was when I was young a hero. I think a lot of people don't know him anymore, but I think he won 5 Olympic medals. Lower North was a hero in a way. and the brothers from Sparkman and Stevens were heroes because they made wonderful designs. So I think there were a couple of them. Today, do I have a hero? No, I don't think so.
Wow, lovely. Actually, you are a hero for a lot of guys. So this is enough, I think, isn't it?
Okay.
So guys, thank you very much to being with me and with Michael, and I really want to say thank you to this huge person in the business of nautic, of sailing, of course, and nautic situation in a at all. I can just to say that. So this was Michael Schmidt. Thank you very much for being with them and for being with me, of course. Ciao, Michael, and stay with us in the Milano Yachting Week, the digital boat show. Ciao.
Ciao.